Hi guys, I'm just another guy named James, and today, since it's just a couple of days after Christmas, I figured we should talk about a Christmas comic. And man, I love Christmas comics. And today we're going to be talking about a Christmas issue of Iron Man, because Iron Man's my favorite comic book series of all time. So we're gonna talk about the Christmas issue of Iron Man, which is Iron Man number 254, which was released in 1990. Now this comic is interesting because it does truly mark the end of an era, because it's the last issue that Bob Layton really worked on. It's the end of the Layton Michelini era. Even though Michelini has no hand in it, it's a very Michelini-inspired comic. Overall, it's everything in this issue is done by Bob Layton. I say everything. The three main things are done by Bob Layton, because he wrote it, he drew it, and he inked it. So the three main parts of the comic were all done by the same guy, which is very impressive. But this is just an interesting comic. It ties into what's going on with the Iron Man comic in general a little bit, but overall, it's mostly just kind of a fun, lighthearted Christmas story. Well, it's not all that lighthearted, as you'll see in a few minutes here, but it is very in the theme of other Marvel and DC Christmas stories, which is a ton of fun. You know, you have these random stories where, for whatever reason the bad guy dresses up as Santa Claus, or for whatever, stuff is just happening at Christmas. It's not so much a thing of, this is a story that relies on it being Christmas. It's, this is a story that happens at Christmas. Kind of like Die Hard. But yeah, overall, I do really enjoy this story. It's, like I said, it's drawn by Bob Layton, who is my favorite artist for Iron Man. It's written by Bob Layton, who's not necessarily my favorite writer on Iron Man, but he's one of my favorite story makers for Iron Man, because him and Michelini used to do all the plots together. And I think that suited the comic really well. It helped the Iron Man comic truly be great for a while. And it is unfortunate to see what became of the Iron Man comic after this issue, though. But that's a story for another day. So yeah, let's just hop into our story, which opens with Iron Man beating up on some random henchmen. And after Iron Man takes care of the last of them, we cut to a compound in California, where we see somebody, a student of some sort, get killed by a laser cannon because his gun malfunctioned. We then see the Taskmaster investigate the body of his student, and he finds that the gun was tampered with. So one of the other students admits that he tampered with the gun so that the other student would be killed and he could move up in the ranks. And Taskmaster is all about this, man. Let me tell you what. He moves the killer up in the ranks, and then he explains to the students that they are competing for the top spot in Justin Hammer's supervillain organization. Justin Hammer was a longtime Iron Man villain, kind of just a businessman who had his own evil cabal. A big important part of the Michelini era of Iron Man. And he also turns up in the Michelin era of Spider-Man. So he's one of those big Marvel characters from the 80s. But yeah, so they're all competing for a spot in his supervillain organization. We then cut back to Tony Stark, who is arriving at the Vanson Plaza, which is a large dome which is being retrofitted to have artificial snow and ski jumps added to it. And they're doing this because Tony Stark has a big Christmas charity event for orphans, and the skiers are going to be entertainment. We then jump back to the Taskmaster's school, where we see the killer students are going through a test before all of the students are sent back to their dorms. And as one of the students enters their dorm, it's blown up, which causes the Taskmaster to further promote the guy who killed the other student earlier. He's known as Number One. And And the next day, on Christmas morning, we see the Taskmaster's final test, which is to have the 3 remaining students fight to the death with blinding goggles on. And eventually, number 1 kills the other 2, leading him to get the Taskmaster's prize, a place in the Hammer organization and the identity of Spymaster. But first, Taskmaster sends Spymaster off on a little field test. The mission being to break into Tony Stark's charity event and steal a certain item to bring to Hammer. Later at the party, we see that the Santa who is there is packing a gun. So when the kid sees that, Santa takes the kid hostage, leading Rhodey, who is at this time the head of security for Stark International, to jump into action, while Tony Stark runs off to get his Iron Man armor. And one thing to note, at this time, nobody knows that Tony Stark is Iron Man. It's a big secret. So yeah, that's why he kind of has to run off to find the armor. In the meantime, Santa pulls off his mask, revealing himself to be the new Spymaster. But as that's going on, Iron Man pops up through the floor, grabbing Spymaster and trying to get him out of the venue. But Spymaster attaches a thruster to Iron Man's chest, which causes him to drop Spymaster, who lands on the ski jump. Rhodey shoots him out of the sky and off of the skis while Iron Man breaks the thruster, and Spymaster's fine because he wore a bulletproof vest, so Iron Man comes zooming down after him. And Spymaster breaks out some high-powered nunchucks and he starts slashing away at Iron Man, and eventually he belts him pretty good into the ski jump, massively destabilizing it, and causing it to almost kill all of the orphans. So Iron Man gets out of the rubble of the jump, and he's pissed at Spymaster for almost killing all those kids, and is about to take Spymaster outside so he can put the thug in the ground. But Spymaster reveals that he's only there for the angel on top of the Christmas tree. So to end the fight, Iron Man gives Spymaster the angel, and he leaves. And that's just kind of where the issue ends. And it's weird, right? Like, it's this, it's this kind of interesting, goofy story, It's Iron Man's hardly in it. He's only on like 6 or 7 pages. It's mostly Spymaster and Taskmaster. But there's something about it that I just like, It's a Christmas comic at the end of the day, and it's just cool, You have it's Iron Man. It's Christmassy. You get this cool Bob Layton art, these dynamic angles. I dig it, and you do get some great Iron Man being the heroic hero moments. At the end of the story, he just lets Spymaster leave because he knows, hey, it's better to give him what he wants so he'll leave and so everybody's out of danger than to continue the fight. And earlier near the beginning of the story, you have Tony Stark throwing this whole little party for the orphans because Tony Stark is an orphan, and he understands what it's like to not have anybody, especially at Christmas. So he figures, hey, what the heck? Why not? Why shouldn't we do something nice for him? And it's just one of those good Tony Stark stories, or Tony Stark moments. And this is a beef I have with the character of Iron Man and the way he's portrayed these days, where Tony Stark is not that big of a jerk. Tony Stark does have an ego, don't get me wrong. His ego is superseded by his heroism. And that's something that I think a lot of the more modern interpretations of Iron Man kind of get wrong. Because Tony Stark truly is one of the more heroic heroes of the Marvel Universe. Like, the big 3 Avengers are the big 3 Avengers because they're your truly heroic heroes. And that's Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. And they're your 3 big heroes of the team. And yeah, that's just something that I think is missing from a lot of the more modern interpretations of Iron Man. But overall, man, I just dig this issue. It's just cool. I like that it's just a story set at Christmas time, because man, I love Christmas, let me tell you what. And man, I especially have a soft spot for Christmas comics. You know what I mean? Which is not surprising. It's two things that I like a lot. You know, you put them together, it's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, overall, I just think this is a good issue of a great and in a great run of Iron Man. It's kind of the end. It's like I said earlier. It's kind of the end of the era that it's a part of. But man, was it a good era. So yeah, overall, great. I think it's a truly great comic. I think the art is really cool. Hopefully that really came through in this video. But yeah, overall, highly recommend this comic. It's part of one of the least expensive eras of Iron Man. So you can probably, it's one of the Iron Mans you'd probably be able to find for like $1, anywhere between $1 and $4, depending on where you live, I guess. But yeah, man, overall, great comic right here. I just really enjoy it. And if you're a fan of Christmas comics, highly, highly, highly recommend. Yeah. Overall, that's really all I've got to say on it. So, hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, and everybody has a Happy New Year as well. So yeah, but in the meantime, I'm just another guy named James, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.